Ladies and gentlemen, faith and perseverance are not just words, they are the foundation of every breakthrough in life. When life seems to knock you down, when the path ahead looks uncertain, it's faith that keeps you standing tall. It's perseverance that keeps you moving forward. Even when the road is tough, even when the finish line is out of sight. In December, you may be feeling weary, but I want to remind you that God's blessings are often hidden within these trials. And they will emerge stronger than you ever imagined if you hold on to your faith and never give up. We've all been through moments where doubt tries to creep in, where the storms of life seem too fierce to weather. In those moments, it's easy to lose sight of what lies ahead. But faith is the anchor. It's the conviction that even when things don't make sense, when the world around you is dark, there is a light shining just beyond the clouds. That light is God's promise. His promise that He will never leave you, that His blessings are already on their way, even if you can't see them yet. Perseverance is the action behind that faith. It's the courage to keep moving forward, step by step, when everything inside you says to stop. Perseverance means you don't give up after the first challenge, the second, or the 10th. It means that even when you feel like you've hit a wall, you trust that God is working behind the scenes. He's preparing you for something far beyond what you could ask or imagine. And sometimes that preparation involves a struggle. Sometimes the hardest moments are the ones that shape you the most. In the Bible, there are countless examples of individuals who showed immense faith and perseverance in the face of adversity. Job is a perfect example. He lost everything, his wealth, his health, even his family. But through it all, he never lost his faith in God. He didn't understand why he was suffering, but he knew that God had a purpose, even in his pain. His perseverance through unimaginable hardship led to restoration beyond what he had lost. Job's story reminds us that blessings are not always immediate. They don't always come when we expect them, but they do come when we remain faithful and continue to persevere. You see, faith doesn't always come with immediate results. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to keep going when you don't see the outcome. But that's where God's timing comes in. It's not about when we think it should happen, but when He knows it's the right time. And that timing often calls for patience, trust, and above all, perseverance. Think about the seasons. There's a time for planting, a time for growth, and a time for harvesting. But there's always a period of waiting. You plant the seed, water it, nurture it, and then wait. You can't rush the process. And yet you believe deep down that the harvest will come. Your faith tells you that even though you can't see it, something is happening under the surface. And when the time is right, the fruit will appear. That's the blessing you've been waiting for. Faith and perseverance aren't just about surviving. It's about thriving through the hard times. It's about keeping your heart open to what God is doing, even when you don't fully understand it. There will be days when the weight of the world seems too much to carry. But it's in those days that your faith can grow stronger. It's when you choose to believe, even when circumstances seem against you, that you're laying the groundwork for something incredible. Every trial you face is a stepping stone. Each challenge you overcome strengthens your character and deepens your relationship with God. It's through these experiences that God molds you into the person He's calling you to be. Remember, the blessing doesn't always look like what you expect. It's easy to think that blessings come in the form of material wealth or immediate success. But God's blessings often come in the form of peace, strength, and wisdom. They come in the form of a renewed spirit, a deeper understanding of your purpose, and the ability to face challenges with grace. These are the signs that God's hand is upon your life. These are the signs that His blessing is on its way. So as you step into December and look forward to the year ahead, remember that the journey of faith and perseverance is one that leads to divine blessings. Trust in the process. Even when the road is long and the night is dark, know that God is with you every step of the way, working everything together for your good. The blessing is coming, but it requires your faith, your perseverance, and your willingness to keep moving forward. When you hold on and you push through the tough times, you're setting yourself up for a blessing that will far exceed anything you could have imagined. There are moments in life when everything seems to be falling apart. The dreams you once had, the plans you worked tirelessly to achieve, all of a sudden feel distant, and the future seems clouded. But in those very moments, something powerful begins to stir within you the potential for renewed hope and vision. God's blessings are not always found in the things we can see sometimes. They come in the form of a new perspective, a fresh vision for what's to come. Hope is the spark that ignites the fire of possibility. It's what keeps you going when the weight of the world is pressing down on you. It is the belief that no matter how dark the days get, something better is ahead. God's blessing often comes in the form of renewed hope, a hope that rises from the ashes of your disappointments, struggles, and failures. When you begin to see beyond the temporary pain and focus on the promise of something greater, that's when your vision shifts. That's when your perspective transforms. In December, as we approach the end of one year and the beginning of another, we're reminded that renewal is possible. The past year may have brought challenges and hardships that left you feeling disillusioned, unsure of what lies ahead. But in those very struggles, God is at work. It's through the darkest seasons that He often calls us to look up, to look beyond our circumstances, and to believe in what is to come. This renewed hope is a sign of His blessing. It is the first glimpse of the new vision He is placing in your heart for the future. Vision is the ability to see the unseen. It's not just about what's right in front of you. It's about seeing what God is about to do in your life. Sometimes we get so caught up in the immediate difficulties that we lose sight of the bigger picture. We get stuck in the moment and forget that God is constantly at work, weaving together a plan that we can't yet fully understand. This renewed vision is about seeing the possibilities that are waiting for you on the other side of your current challenges. It's about understanding that God has a purpose for your life, and no setback can take that away. It's easy to be discouraged when things don't go according to our plan. We live in a world that celebrates instant gratification, where everything is expected to happen right now. But God's timing is different. He doesn't work on our clock. He works on His own, and His timing is perfect. When you allow yourself to trust in that timing, to surrender your own understanding, that's when your vision becomes clear. You start to see things from a divine perspective through God's eyes, and suddenly what seemed impossible now looks achievable. What once appeared as a roadblock becomes an opportunity for growth and breakthrough. Renewed hope is not just about feeling good in the moment, it's about the deep, unshakable belief that God is still in control, even when everything feels out of control. It's about holding on to the promise that He has not forgotten you, that He is working all things together for your good, even in the times you can't see it. When your hope is renewed, your heart is open to receive the vision God is placing before you. This vision may not always align with your plans, but it will always lead you to a greater purpose than you could have ever imagined. Think about the times in your life when you felt lost, when you couldn't see the way forward. Now look back and see how far you've come. Those moments of despair were the very things that pushed you into a new level of growth. They were the moments that sharpened your character, stretched your faith, and prepared you for what was ahead. God doesn't waste any of our experiences, no matter how painful they may seem in the moment. He uses every single one to shape us, to mold us into the person He created us to be. When you begin to see that, when you understand that every season has a purpose, that's when you can embrace renewed hope and vision. As the year draws to a close, think of it as an opportunity to let go of the past and step into the future with fresh eyes. God is always doing a new thing, but you have to be willing to see it. You have to be willing to open your heart to the vision He's placing before you, even if it looks different from what you expected. When your hope is renewed, your ability to see the possibilities grows. You stop focusing on the obstacles and start focusing on the opportunities. You begin to realize that what you've been waiting for is not just around the corner, it's already in motion. God's blessings are not distant, they are near, and they are waiting for you to open your eyes and see them. So as you move through this season, let your hope be renewed. Allow your vision to expand. See yourself not just in your current circumstances, but in the greater picture that God is unfolding. The blessings He has for you are already in motion. You just have to keep moving forward with faith, believing that your vision will become reality and that every step you take is one step closer to receiving His divine blessing. Divine timing is something that often baffles the human mind. We live in a world driven by clocks, schedules, and deadlines. Everything is expected to happen in a particular order and within a certain time frame. We plan our lives meticulously, expecting things to unfold according to our own understanding. But God's timing doesn't operate on the same principles. His timing is perfect, and when we surrender ourselves to it, we begin to experience blessings in ways we never expected. There's a saying that timing is everything, and when it comes to God's plan for your life, this couldn't be truer. You might find yourself in a place right now where everything feels delayed. You've worked hard, you've prayed, you've put in the effort, but it seems like things aren't moving. It's easy to become frustrated, disillusioned, or even discouraged. But I want you to hear me when I say this: God is never late. His timing is not dictated by the clock. It's not about what we think should happen now. It's about His perfect timing, which always comes at the right moment, in the right way. In the Bible, we see countless examples of divine timing in action. Think about the story of Abraham and Sarah. They were promised a child, a son who would be the father of nations. But year after year, nothing happened. They waited, and as time passed, doubt began to creep in. By the time Sarah was well into her old age, it seemed impossible. But God's timing was perfect. When they thought it was too late, when they thought their opportunity had passed, God delivered on His promise. Isaac was born. His timing was not their timing, but it was exactly what they needed when they needed it. This story speaks volumes about divine timing. Abraham and Sarah didn't receive the blessing when they expected it, and it didn't look the way they imagined, but it came. And when it did, it was more than just the fulfillment of a promise. It was a testament to God's faithfulness. It showed them that no matter how long the wait, God's timing is always worth the wait. Divine timing also shows up in the smallest details of our lives. We may not see the big picture in the moment, but God is orchestrating things in ways that we cannot even begin to comprehend. You may be in a season of waiting right now, unsure why things aren't moving faster. You may be questioning why certain doors are closed or why opportunities seem out of reach. But remember, God's plan for your life is bigger than your immediate circumstances. He sees the whole picture, the beginning, the middle, and the end, and He knows exactly when each part needs to unfold. What may seem like a delay is actually a divine setup for something greater. We often try to rush things thinking that we can make it happen on our own. We push and strive, trying to force our own timeline onto the situation. But God's timing teaches us patience. It teaches us that there are seasons for everything. There is a season for planting, a season for growth, and a season for harvest. You can't rush the seasons. You can't rush the growth. You have to trust the process. Trust that when the time is right, everything will fall into place. This kind of trust requires surrender. It means letting go of your own plans and acknowledging that God knows what's best for you. It's not always easy to accept. We live in a world that values immediate results, and waiting can feel like a test of endurance. But when you choose to trust in God's timing, you begin to see how beautifully everything comes together in the end. Consider the story of Joseph. He had dreams of greatness, dreams of leadership, but his journey to those dreams was anything but easy. He was sold into slavery by his brothers, wrongfully imprisoned and forgotten. And yet, through it all, God's timing was at work. What appeared to be setbacks were actually the stepping stones leading Joseph to his destiny. In the fullness of time, he became second in command in Egypt, saving nations from famine. Joseph could not have known that his struggles were preparing him for such a time as this, but God did. His timing was perfect. When you look back on your own life, you'll see the same truth. There have been moments where you've questioned why things weren't moving the way you hoped, why things weren't happening when you thought they should. But in hindsight, you can see that the delays, the detours, and the waiting periods were all part of God's plan to set you up for greater things. And just like Joseph, you will look back and realize that the very things that seemed like obstacles were actually opportunities for growth, for preparation, and for positioning you in the right place at the right time. God's timing doesn't just change the course of our lives, it changes us. It refines us, builds our character, and strengthens our faith. When you trust His timing, you become more patient, more understanding, and more confident that what He has in store for you will come to fruition in its perfect time. It's not about rushing or forcing things to happen. It's about letting go of the control, trusting that God knows when it's time to open doors, and understanding that His delays are not denials. So, as you navigate through life, especially in this season of waiting, remember that God's timing is never off. It is always right. His plan for you is unfolding exactly as it should. You may not always see it now, but rest assured the blessing is coming, and it's coming at the right time. All you need to do is trust and wait in faith. Unexpected opportunities are some of the most profound and life-changing blessings we can experience. We spend so much of our time planning, preparing, and striving for certain goals that when something unexpected comes our way, it can throw us off balance. We may even question whether it's a real opportunity or just a distraction. But what we often fail to realize is that some of the most important moments in our lives come in the form of the unexpected. These opportunities, which appear out of nowhere, are often the very blessings we've been waiting for, though we may not recognize them right away. Think about the times in your life when things didn't go according to plan. Maybe a job you thought was perfect fell through, or a relationship you believed was meant to be ended unexpectedly. In those moments, it can feel like the world is crumbling around you. But looking back, how often do you realize that those very setbacks led you to something greater? That job loss may have pushed you to pursue a career you had never considered. That relationship may have ended so that you could grow into the person you were meant to be before stepping into the next chapter of your life. Those moments of uncertainty and disappointment often hide the seeds of unexpected opportunities. God works in ways we can't always see or understand. His blessings come not only through the things we ask for, but also through the things we never expected. These unexpected opportunities are His way of guiding us to the places we need to be, even if it's not where we thought we were going. Often, when things don't go as planned, it's because God has a better plan for us, one that we may not be able to see yet. It's in these moments that our faith is tested and our trust in His plan is stretched. But it's also in these moments that we learn to be open to what God is doing, to the possibilities that lie beyond our own understanding. Take a moment to think about the people in the Bible who experienced unexpected opportunities. Joseph, for example, was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and eventually imprisoned on false charges. It would be easy to look at his circumstances and believe that everything was lost. But in the midst of his suffering, God opened doors for Joseph that no one could have predicted. He went from being a prisoner to being second in command in Egypt, saving nations from famine. What seemed like a series of unfortunate events was actually God's way of positioning Joseph for a purpose far greater than he could have ever imagined. The opportunities that Joseph received were not what he planned, but they were the very opportunities he needed to fulfill his destiny. We too experience these moments of divine opportunity, though they may not always look the way we expected. Sometimes it's a door that opens unexpectedly, leading to a new job, a new relationship, or a new place. Other times, it's a chance encounter with someone who becomes a lifelong friend, mentor, or business partner. It may be a sudden shift in circumstances that seems disruptive at first, but eventually reveals a path forward that we never considered. These opportunities often come in the most surprising forms, and they require us to step out of our comfort zone, to trust that God is leading us in a direction we may not have anticipated. The key to recognizing and seizing these unexpected opportunities is being open to them. Too often, we become so fixated on our plans, our expectations, and our timelines that we miss the blessings right in front of us. When we hold too tightly to what we think should happen, we close ourselves off from the very things that could take us to the next level. But when we learn to let go of our own understanding and remain open to what God is doing, we begin to see the opportunities that He's placing before us. It's in those moments of openness, when we surrender our will and trust in God's plan, that we start to recognize the unexpected blessings in our lives. It's also important to understand that unexpected opportunities are often wrapped in challenges or discomfort. They don't always come with a shiny bow or a clear, easy path. Sometimes these opportunities push us out of our comfort zones, requiring us to grow and stretch in ways we didn't anticipate. But that's part of the beauty of them. They force us to evolve, to learn new things, and to develop resilience and courage. It's through these experiences that we are shaped into the people we need to become in order to receive the greater blessings God has for us. In this season, as you reflect on your own life, take a moment to ask yourself what unexpected opportunities have already come your way. Have you recognized them for what they are, or have you dismissed them as obstacles? Perhaps there's something in your life right now that seems confusing, frustrating, or even like a setback. But what if it's actually a sign of something greater on the horizon? What if this challenge is the very opportunity that will take you to the next level? God's blessings often arrive in the form of unexpected opportunities, and it's up to us to be ready to embrace them. They might not always be what we imagine, but they are always what we need. So as you move forward, stay open, stay alert, and trust that the opportunities God has in store for you are unfolding, even if they look different from what you expected. When you learn to recognize and embrace them, you will find yourself walking in a path filled with blessings beyond what you could have ever planned. Transformation and growth are not always easy. They often come through struggle, discomfort, and change, none of which are naturally appealing to us as human beings. We tend to seek comfort, stability, and security. Yet, it is in the moments of struggle that we are most likely to experience real growth. God's blessings often come not through the smooth and easy paths, but through the rocky roads that push us to our limits and force us to become the people we were always meant to be. When we talk about transformation, we are talking about something deeper than just a surface change. It's more than a new outfit, a different job, or a fresh start. Transformation is about a complete renewal of your heart, mind, and spirit. It's about becoming the person you were created to be, shedding old habits, old mindsets, and old ways of thinking that no longer serve you. It's about letting go of the past so that you can step into the future with a new perspective and a new purpose. The process of transformation often begins when we hit a breaking point. It's when everything seems to fall apart, when we feel like we've lost control, that God begins to work in us. These moments, though painful, are actually some of the most significant in our lives. They are the moments when we realize that we can no longer rely on our own strength. We realize that we need something greater than ourselves to guide us. It is in these moments of vulnerability and surrender that God's transformative power begins to work. Think about the process of refining gold. The gold must first be heated to extremely high temperatures in order to remove the impurities. It's a painful process. But once the impurities are removed, what's left is pure and valuable. Transformation works in much the same way. We go through the heat of trials, challenges, and difficulties, and in the process, the impurities in our character are revealed and removed. Our selfishness, pride, bitterness, and fear are burned away, leaving behind the person God always intended us to be. This transformation is not always immediate. It takes time. It takes patience. It requires us to endure, to keep pressing forward, even when we don't see the results right away. But if we trust the process, if we trust that God is at work, even when it feels like nothing is happening, we will come out of it stronger, wiser, and more aligned with His will for our lives. Growth, much like transformation, is a gradual process. It's easy to look at where we are now and wish we were further along, but growth happens in stages. It happens in the small, seemingly insignificant moments that add up over time. It's not always the big leaps that define our progress, but the small, consistent steps we take each day. Growth often looks like making one good choice after another, choosing faith over fear, choosing patience over impatience, and choosing kindness over anger. These small choices accumulate, and over time, they transform us from the inside out. Just like a plant grows slowly from a seed, we too must grow slowly. Sometimes we may feel as though we are stuck in one place, not moving forward. We may feel as though we're not changing at all, and the weight of life's challenges may leave us feeling discouraged. But if we look closely, we will see the signs of growth little by little. God is transforming us. It might be the way we handle adversity now, the way we respond to difficult people, or the way we approach challenges. Each step of growth is a sign that God is at work in us, shaping us into His image. The beauty of transformation and growth is that they go hand in hand. Transformation is not just about changing who we are externally, it's about changing the way we think, the way we see the world, and the way we interact with others. It's about becoming more loving, more compassionate, more patient, and more generous. It's about aligning our hearts with God's heart, our desires with His will, and our actions with His purpose.